Hello, hello. This is Miki Wright with Beauty Superstars, and I'm excited to be here today for another episode of Your Pricing Matters. And if you have ever wondered how, to take the shortcut to, really building a strong clientele in the beauty industry and maybe in some other industries as well, we are going to talk about it today and break down some things that may be a little unexpected or a little bit like maybe I should look at this a different way by the end of the day. And I'm here with my special guest, Tiffany Wilson, and she's the owner of 2911, the salon. And we're excited to have her here. So she's going to share from her wealth of knowledge and experience and I have a six-figure group. It's a six-figure breakthrough mastermind, and we have a special guest each month. And my special guest was on for this month actually, and she's a six-figure stylist, and she shared her story. And part of her story was, it's not as easy as it seems when you're looking online to build a clientele and to really get going. And she shared that she kind of took a step back. She felt like she was being led, but it felt like I'm taking a step down, I'm taking a step back to become an assistant. She's been working a full-time job, trying to build her clientele, trying to live her passion and her dream, and it wasn't working. And so she, quote unquote, kind of took that step back, became an assistant at a great salon, and her career flourished from there. It's like she got skills, she got training, had marketing in place. There's so many different things that she's benefited from, and now she's been on her own about to celebrate a year. And it's like she had a great foundation because she, quote unquote, took that step back and became an assistant. And so, come on in,
Mm.
Tiffany. Tell us who you are, story. Have
Well,
you?
thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to speak with you. So, again, my name is Tiffany Wilson. I'm the owner of 2911 The Salon. We're located in Round Rock, Texas. And I actually started off working in the IT project management industry. And
Mm-hmm.
just, I was 35 years old, decided to go to cosmetology school. And at the time, I was a single mom. And so my mom moved in with me so that I could keep working my full time job and go to school at night from 5 to 10 at night. I went to school. And I actually opened my salon in 2019. I started by renting in a salon, actually. And it's so funny because in hindsight, that was crazy. Like it was crazy for me to do that, to go from going straight from cosmetology school to renting. It was an open concept salon, and they had chairs for rent. And so I got my license in December of 2013. And then the very next day after I got my license, I was fully booked. And part of it is because I was older. I was the oldest one in my cosmetology class. And it was not a game to me. I had grown people bills, I had kids. And so I needed to make sure that the money that I was getting from working in the cosmetology industry would be able to sustain my life and my family at the point that I was at that time. And so I actually worked in a. It's so funny. I was actually renting in a Caucasian salon, and I did that for 7 years. I actually started building my team at that time, and so by the time I left, I was renting 3 chairs from her, and
Okay.
an opportunity came along for me to open my own salon. And it was a really good opportunity for me to do that at the time. So I took that leap and I did it. But, I think the one benefit that I had was that even though I was renting, I had a lot of seasoned hairdressers around me. That's where I
Mm,
learned color from. They knew a
mm,
lot about color. And so
right.
to be around people who had been in the industry a long time that I could ask questions to was so valuable to me. And so since then, I've built my team. There's about 10 of us now. And so we have stylists, and we have three that are assisting right now. And we're in the process of opening our second location.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So, yeah, big congratulations to you. And I love
Thank
hearing
you.
everybody's stories because I think it's so impactful. And I see we've got a couple people joining us, so welcome. We appreciate you joining us. We are live, and if you would like to add any comments or anything, you can feel free to just drop us in the comment section anything you'd like to say to us. We are on StreamYard, and so at the top of it, I think at the top of it, it'll ask you if you want to give us permission, and we'll be able to see your name and say hello to you as well. So hello, thanks for joining. And my name is Miki Wright. I am a business growth strategist. I really help beauty professionals as well as other business owners who are kind of tired of that hustle culture that we've been in. And I help them to be able to create and build six-figure businesses and beyond that, and do it without overworking and without the overwhelm. And so, part of my story is, having lived through some of that and wanting to make things easier for other people and to really kind of create shortcuts. And right now, we're in
Mhm.
very much a culture in our beauty industry, which is my background as a hairstylist, former hairstylist at this point. But, it's very much about being independent. For several years, we kept hearing about being your own boss and all of that. So tell me, what your thoughts are, Tiffany, with, where we are in terms of that type of culture. It's like everybody wants to come right out of
Mm,
school, be on their own, go into a suite and work alone. What are
right.
your thoughts?
And I think I was sharing this with you yesterday that I thought it was so interesting because the elephant in the room. I think we just need to go ahead and talk about it. There's a significant cultural difference in terms of our mindset around entering the cosmetology industry. When I was in cosmetology school, I asked all my classmates, "What are you going to do when you leave here?"
Mhm,
And overwhelmingly, it was split. When I talked to my Caucasian classmates or my non-Black classmates, they would say, "Oh, I'm going to go assist at this salon. I'm going to do a paid or an unpaid apprenticeship. I'm going to I just want to go learn under someone. I want to just be able to be around the industry and learn as much as I can." But when I talk to my Black counterparts, they would say, "Oh, my Black classmates, they would say, oh, I'm going to open my own salon. I'm going to
mhm,
go rent in a suite or something like that." And suites have really become really, really big these days.
mhm,
And why? Because it's a moneymaker. Basically, you're just a landlord, and people pay weekly, and you can make a lot of money that way. But it's funny. I was thinking I was going to do the same thing because in our culture, that's what you do. No one really talked about assisting. They just talked
mhm.
about, you go, then you get you start paying booth rent, and that's how you did things. And so my plan was to initially open a salon as soon as I graduated cosmetology school. I'm so glad that didn't happen because I was not ready. I was not ready to do that, and so I think it's a very, very dangerous thing because a lot of things that you hear clients complaining about these days about, stylists who may or may not be licensed. So many of those things would have been or could have been prevented had that stylist been able to work under someone who'd been in the business for a while and be able to provide some guidance on those things. Coming from a project management background, we dealt in timelines, processes, having a subject matter expert on different things. We understood the value of a team. And so that was one of the benefits that I had. But so many people come into this industry without having any type of business experience. And
Right.
so there are some things that we don't know. We don't know we have to have certain processes in place. We don't know that
Mhm.
we need a support team or that we need to pay for insurance or have any, a lot of things. And so if nothing else, working under someone else, you get to, even if your ultimate plan is to open your salon, you can pick up on those things while you're working for somebody else.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree. It's like I think, working with others, particularly in an assistant position, it's like there's so much you learn. You think it's only the doing the
Mhm.
hair part, but it's a lot of intangible
Mhm.
as to why
That's
that
right.
person is. successful and why that person or how that person interacts with their clients, how they, run their business. There's so many different things that you are getting kind of a firsthand view of that you wouldn't otherwise know or be
Mhm.
able to pick up on. And so
That's
I,
right.
I think being independent can be great. I've always personally liked working
Mhm.
in more of a group environment because I think that, the saying iron sharpens iron, that it's like being in a creative environment that there were people that I work with that, from across the room, they might see something different that I could do with my client, not like, oh, well,
That's right.
start over. And, it wasn't criticism. It was like, oh, well, what if you did X? And I would see the same thing from across the room because it's like we have a
That's
different
right.
perspective than when we're sitting right on it. And it just stirred us to be more creative. And so that's my personal preference, but it's like
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with being independent. But as a coach, I speak with a lot of people that's like, oh, I want to open my own salon or I want to open this. And it's like, so one question is like, how much money do you have? And it's like, I have yet to see any business that runs without money. And another part of that
That's right.
is clients. It's like, do you have a clientele to support, paying the booth rent, paying the suite rent, whatever that may look like. And sometimes we're like, oh, yeah, I have that covered, but we're only thinking about that. As a salon owner, what else should we be considering? Because there's a lot more expenses.
Oh my
The rent.
gosh. Let me tell you, because I think that you're right. So many people just think of, oh, I can afford the rent, right?
Yep.
But that is just the bare minimum in terms of what it is. And I don't know about you, but one thing that I've noticed for sure is that the cost of products has gone up significantly. And
Right.
not just by a little bit, it's gone up a lot. And
Right.
so I know in our salon, we use a ton of products. And we don't just use products that people can just buy anywhere. We use professional products. And
Mhm.
it costs money to be able to use those products. But
Right.
not just that. So my salon is actually a commission salon. And listen, when in most states that I know of, I'll just put it that way. In most states that I know of, if you have a commission salon with employees and they rely on your business for the majority of their income or to live, then they are an employee. And when you have an employee, then there are other expenses that you have to pay for. And you have to pay for payroll taxes, workman's comp, insurance, all of the above. And it adds up very, very quickly. I'm really, really transparent with my team because I want to let them know that what you see on Instagram, what you see on Facebook is not always so. They really make being a so-called boss very glamorous, and it's not that glamorous. And I think I told them in our team meeting yesterday that oftentimes it feels more like a ministry than a business
Okay.
because there's this misconception that salon owners are taking all of your money and all of that. Nothing can be further from the truth, because if you look at it side by side and if you say, okay, if I'm going to rent my own suite, what are my real expenses? What is the cost of doing business? And you have to add everything. What is my marketing going to cost?
Mhm.
And so because people aren't going to know you're there unless you tell them. And so
Right.
whether that's printed marketing or ads that you're doing, whether you're going to be, setting up at some sort of trade show or something, people are going to have to know how to find you. And I tell you that money adds up very, very quickly.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's also one of the questions that I ask when, before I meet with people. I ask several different questions just to get a kind of idea or overview of their business. And one of them is, what's your marketing plan, or do you have a marketing plan? And overwhelmingly, it's like, no, I don't have one. Yes, I do social media, which is a tool, not a plan. But
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmingly, we don't have
Mm-hmm.
a plan of how we're going to grow our business, how we're going to grow our clientele. And I just met with someone who's a new salon owner. An opportunity opened up and she jumped on it. She's experienced with what she does on the creative side. She's a natural hairstylist, but when we met,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, I haven't really looked at this as a business. Looking at the
Mm-hmm.
things need to be putting into it to make it work. It's like, that's why it's frustrating, because it's not working, because it's like, I'm not putting these things in place. And definitely marketing is a huge one. You mentioned insurance before. There's, just all types of different expenses that are part of it, like the product costs. We all know we're going to need products and supplies and that type of thing. And of course, not just the
Mhm.
product, but everything is shot up. When you think about gloves, and when you think about foil, and when you think about towels, and
Yes.
all of those little things. And then God forbid, like your blow dryer go out and you have to replace that. You know what I mean? And we saw a
Let
lot of,
me tell you, because as a business owner, when tools go out at my salon, I replace them. That's the
Mhm,
benefit of them working
right,
in a commission based salon. Is that if something breaks, they're like, Tiffany, and that's why they're there, is so that they don't have to worry about, because our
right,
blow dryers are not $50. They're more like
yeah,
$200. We
right, right,
use, high quality products and tools. And so it's not a game. And guess what? If you're in a suite, you don't have to worry about it as much. But do you know how many times the building that I'm in right now is older? And I can't tell you, it was not built to sustain, it was not built for the amount of traffic that my salon
mhm,
has. And
mhm,
so I have spent thousands of dollars on the plumbing, on the electrical. You would not
right.
believe it. It's really only by the grace of God that I'm still here. It's very, very expensive, and nobody prepares you for that. That's what they don't teach you in beauty school.
Right, right. Definitely a lot of things that are left out. I want to share a message we got from Nikki Jackson's Sagirius. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. But she says all these are important factors. Some are so eager to jump in head first without planning for the future. And you're so on point there. Thank you for that, Nikki. Thanks for joining us. But it's, and she also says repairs for your spa. Yeah. And it's like, and, there was a post that I saw on, that just had people sharing what was their electric bill during the summer, where they were from and what
Mm.
their electric bill was. And it's like the variables are so huge. You're in Texas and that's a hot area, and you got to have AC to not only cool the building, but to cool it with blow dryers going, with hot irons going, with the traffic and the body heat and all of that. And so, if you don't factor in those variables, it can be really devastating, because it's like, oh my gosh, it may be a lot lower in the winter, but it's like you don't have any choice but to keep it going during the summer, right?
Oh my gosh, we struggled this summer. We struggled really bad this summer. And at one point, I had to run up to Home Depot and spend $500 on a portable AC unit to help,
Mhm. Right.
because we were doing so much blow drying inside of it. The AC just could not keep up. And
Hmm.
a lot of people don't realize that in commercial leases, that the landlord is not responsible for those types of things at
Hmm.
all. They give you a building, but check your lease very carefully. If the AC unit goes out, oftentimes you are responsible for that, to the tune of about $20,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important point, when you're talking about having a freestanding salon. It's like I used to teach a class on 5 things you need to know before you open your salon, and reading the lease is at the top of it. Having an
Ooh,
attorney
that's
read
good.
it, you looking through it, because the only reason you need the lease is when something happens. It's like, so find out what happens when something happens. And
Hmm,
it's like, who
that's
is
right.
responsible for the AC. And I think I think I replaced a hot water heater, or water heater, as they say. It's not hot, but water heater in the
Hmm.
wintertime. Of course, it goes out the coldest day of the year, when it's like there's no
Yes,
heat,
of
and
course.
there was no heat, and there was no hot water. And clients still want to
Mm,
come, like, oh, I can take it. It's like, no, we're not doing we're not
that's
working in the
right.
no heat in the wintertime and no hot water, and we're going to do a chemical service.
That's right.
Not going to happen. But
Mm-mm.
But yeah, it's like I was responsible for it, it turned out. And then there was another time where I had a different building and it's like the AC unit is on the roof. It's an expensive, it's like not only is the unit expensive, you got to have somebody that knows what they're doing to get it on the roof. And fortunately,
Right.
I did know about reading my lease, and that was not, my full responsibility. I might have to put something toward it, but it was because I read the lease and I was like, no, I can't agree to that.
Yeah,
that was
that's really good that you didn't have to pay for the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, and some of those things, like, if I moved, I couldn't take that unit with me. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, and leases are written by the landlord. We didn't intend to get
Hmm.
into all of this, so they're going to always be in the landlord's favor, so you
That's
wanna make
right.
sure you get enough of what you want from it.
Absolutely. Because even opening my second salon, it was very different because this particular the owner of my existing salon is a single owner, and she's very very nice, always willing to to help me with anything.
Mhm.
The new location is in a retail center, and when I signed the lease, it was actually owned by 400 investors.
Oh,
And
wow.
so they definitely have a lot of money under them to be able to make sure they had everything in place, had attorneys in place. So I definitely had to invest in an attorney to make sure that he went through my entire lease and let me make sure I understood, what it meant, what I was going to be responsible for. Oh, you need to tell them to change this. And thankfully, they were pretty much able, willing to change anything I asked for. But, had I not done that and had I not known any better, then they really could have got me on some things.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like experience helps.
Yes.
But circling back to, assisting,
Hmm.
there is a stigma about assisting, and, from my experience, it's like I've, taught live classes for a really long time, and when I'm in front of people and I'm asking, "How many of you guys wanna be a salon owner?" And all the hands shoot up, and
Yes.
I ask, "How many of you guys want to be an assistant?" And it's like, "I don't wanna be an assistant." It's like, to me, it's a lot of the same things. You're doing the
Mhm.
same things as an
That's
owner.
right.
It's like you're sweeping sometimes, you're taking out the trash, it's like you're
Yeah.
clients, you're making sure the bathroom's okay, it's like washing the
Yes.
towels. I mean, it's not a big difference, and that's, to me, like your training ground. It's like, how do I prepare to become
Hmm.
a great owner? And so what are your thoughts
Hmm.
with with that analogy?
I agree 100% that there is this negative connotation. It's all about the title more than anything. But even when I was in the corporate environment, I was like, I don't care what you call me, just pay me. That's really what my mindset was around it. I never have been one to get hung up on titles because, as you know, when you're the owner, no task is too small for you. You are in there, unstopping toilets. You're doing all kinds of stuff. No one will work for your business harder than you will. No one
Right.
will do that. And so it's the best training. And what I know from working in the corporate environment, that those people in the support role, because I started off in the corporations that I worked for in the support role as an admin, in
Mhm.
a lot of cases, those are the people who hold everything together. We would be so lost without the support role. No business can run without their support groups. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so it's such a misconception about really what it is. I think that it's a position that's to be highly respected. I actually know someone who has been assisting for for 7 years now, and
Mhm.
one of the things that he told me is that he realized a long time ago that he has a servant's heart and that he enjoys being in a support role. He
Mhm.
can do some hair by way of, because of who he supports. He learned from the best, and so he knows how to do it. He can do what she's doing, but all he has to do is really the prep work. And so he enjoys being in that role. Oftentimes you get the perks of being in a support role. So if I'm going to be traveling somewhere, when I was interviewing last month, one of the things I was saying is that if I go somewhere and I'm going to be teaching a class or something like that, if they're paying for my travel, they're going to pay for your travel too. You get all the perks of going along and being in those types of environments. So there are some really great things that come along with it, even outside of learning from the best. One of the things that I think that there's just a lot of, I don't want to call it disrespect, but there's a lot of people who have come before us that I wish that I could just sit at their feet and ask them so many questions. There are stylists right now who've never done a relaxer, but back when my dad was doing relaxers, people who did relaxers knew how to keep the hair healthy. They knew how to keep the hair on the head. They knew how to do a roller set in 5 minutes. They knew how to do a lot of things that if you had a new stylist now, because so many people have transitioned out of relaxers, and if somebody walked in and was still needing a relaxer, they look like a deer in headlights because they don't know any of that. When I was in cosmetology school, we our unit on texture was about how to put a relaxer on. It was how to get the texture out of the hair. That was our unit on texture. It was very, very short, but there was very minimal training on how to deal with somebody who has hair like mine. And so primarily that's who we get who come to the salon, are people who want to work with natural hair, but who never really received that training, because they teach you how to pass the state board. And a lot of clients are very surprised by that I didn't learn this in beauty school. And not only that, I've had to invest a lot of money outside of what I learned in cosmetology school, thousands of dollars. So for my team members now, we have an education reimbursement program. And so they get up to $2,000 worth of education reimbursed every year. And so there are some things that when you're out there, you're independent, you are on your own. You hear me? All of it is on you. And so as long as you're prepared for that, that's fine. I tell my team members all the time, I don't expect anyone to be with me forever. I hope that I can just be a part of the journey, because we're developing leaders anyway. I don't expect for anyone to be there forever, but hopefully you can learn some really valuable tools to take with you when you go in there. A lot of the people, they just haven't had that training. And for instance, I think about, when I open Instagram and I see someone who they're like the silk press person, they're the silk press queen or whatever. And they just went, and that's the only thing they do. That's the best. They're the best at it. And they do beautiful silk presses. And they started off, after they got their license, they went and they opened their own, or they started renting on their own. And if they had worked with a more seasoned hairstylist, they would have been able to show them and tell them that hair that looks like this cannot survive on silk presses alone. Not over time. It may not happen. It may not happen within the first year, may not even happen within the second year, but eventually, if you understand the structure of hair, you will understand that can't last forever. You're going to start seeing the hair breaking down. But we get out here and social media will tell us, we got this, we can do this, we're the best at this. But there's some things, oh my gosh, if we had only known. And I would much rather learn that while assisting someone, and I don't have the pressure of, this all falling back on me, because it will fall back on you. And we can see that people love to use social media to bash the people that did their hair. And so there's some really valuable things that you can really learn while you're in a support role and not have the pressure of, oh my gosh, now how am I going to fix this?
Right, right. Yeah, I think the mindset I went in with to the industry, and I'm second generation, so I watched my mom build, successful salons and all of that. But I never thought it would be my path, so I wasn't really paying attention, even though I picked up a lot of things. But when I, you know, kind of fell into it, fell in love with it, went to cosmetology school, and decided to relocate and have a really fresh start in a different city, then it was okay. I know I want to be a salon owner. I know I'm not ready. Um, I know that somebody's probably already bumped their head. And so why do I have to bump my head? Why don't I go find them and find out what I can do to learn from them and
That's
help them,
right.
have them help me
That's
be
right.
prepared to be a successful salon owner in the future, as well as my mom. Obviously, she was a mentor, but we weren't in the same city. But
Mm,
and some people, I guess, call that like being, I have to be humble or put my pride aside or, what
mhm.
have you. But it's whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like, yes, it's like learn what you need to learn to really build a strong foundation to build upon versus just going out there and having something that's, going to fall down, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't you notice that there's just this thing where everybody just thinks they come out the gate knowing everything?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, what is that? And maybe I did not really struggle with having to put my pride aside or being humble. I was one of those people, if you told me not to touch the stove, it's hot, I wouldn't touch it. I believed you, but there's
Yeah.
some people who have to bump their head first. If you were going to
Right.
save me from that, I'm like, please save me. But people do, they feel like, but I'm telling my age, I'm 46 years old. And so I come from a time where you started off in a company at entry level and then
Yeah.
you worked your way to the top. But the
Right.
mindset is very different now, where people feel
Right.
like, oh, I'm coming in, I just got my degree, I just got my license, I'm ready to make multiple six
Mhm.
figures when I just got here. So it's a very different
Mhm.
mindset.
Right, right. But I think when we start asking questions, in terms, especially around business, that they realize
Mhm.
they don't really have the answers to,
That's
and
right.
having a marketing plan, because I'm seeing so many stylists who are struggling. They don't necessarily look like it online, but it's like they're not making the income that they want to make and need to make to be in a suite. And so a lot of them have part-time jobs, sometimes a couple part-time jobs,
Mhm.
sometimes a full-time job. And I've,
Mhm.
was in that space where I had to leave and go out of the industry and do it part-time until I could build up because I wasn't building fast enough. So I get it. But
Mhm.
we put ourselves sometimes in a place where we're struggling more than we need to. Like you say, you could get all
Yes.
the benefits and perks of being in a situation where you can be able to grow quickly. Um, but it's like we're coming in not knowing, but not knowing that we don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And we're doing things backwards.
Yeah.
Why not start at a salon that has a great reputation, that already has a steady flow of
Mhm.
clients coming in, so that you don't have to start from scratch. My stylists, once they're fully trained and everything, and we open up their books, the clients start flooding in, and part of it is because we market them aggressively on social media,
Mhm.
and we let them know, hey, there's a new talent here. And
Right.
so once you do that, then you can build up your clientele enough to start your own. But a lot of people underestimate how difficult it is to get people to trust you enough
Right.
to
Right.
to really become your loyal client.
Yeah, that's the thing that was coming to my mind before was there are a lot of people in suites struggling, and there are a lot of, on the other side, salon owners who tell me they're turning away clients because they don't have enough talent in their
That's right.
salon to accommodate all of the business. And so it's like the what do you call it? Unpopular opinion is that some of the folks in the suites need to go where there's traffic already, where there are clients who
That's
are waiting
right.
done and get busy and get the experience, not only the hair part, because it's like we think about the hair part, but the success will come from being able to talk to clients, have relationships with their clients, professional relationships, and being able to run the business part of it is 80% of their success. And so, what are
That's
your
right.
thoughts
That's
for
right.
your
Well, yeah,
team?
absolutely. And I actually I tell people all the time, and I got this from my mentor, is that there's one word of caution, is that you also can't assume that when you started doing someone at that salon, that they're automatically going to follow you when they leave. A lot of people make that assumption as well. So it's important that you put those things in place, like you said, build relationships and everything like that, because you never can assume that someone will automatically follow you. Sometimes people come to the salon because the location works for them. Sometimes they like the fact that this salon, like, we offer wine and snacks and everything, so we have our clients a little spoiled. So if you open your suite, make sure you have wine and snacks too, because they're going to be looking for that. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that while you're there, you're learning what it is to we're real big on customer service and how you treat people and making sure they know they're valued as a person and as a client. One of my favorite things to tell people is that I am not the best hairstylist in Austin. Never have professed to be. There are some amazing, talented hairstylists, but what I do very well is customer service, and I know how to treat people. And so people will never forget how you made them feel. So if you're sliding in 45 minutes late, unapologetically, like I'm doing you a favor by being here, you won't keep people long. You may get them to come that first time, but they won't be back. And so there's something, those are the types of things, assisting under someone where you can see firsthand that we hold ourselves to a higher standard, that you will never forget that. You'll take it with you, and you'll think about how you treat people when you are in a position to be on your own.
Yeah, such important points you're making, and it's a people business at the end of the day. It's
Absolutely.
about relationships, it's about boundaries, creating and having boundaries. It's about setting pricing that actually works for your business and not just for your clients. And it's like I see a lot of underpricing. I work with people a lot with that. And we tend to want a service and want to provide, I won't necessarily say an experience, but it's like we want the client to be happy at the end of it, typically, if we're interested in this industry at all, which I feel like there's a lot of people in it right now who are really interested in hair. They're not really interested in care. They're not really interested in the person, or helping them keep their hair or their health or any of those things that I think are vital to building a long-term clientele. Just, people know if you care or if you don't. And like you said,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
They know if you're trying to just make a dime off of them, but pricing is one of the biggest things that you can learn from assisting someone. And when you work in a salon where people are used to paying, what you're worth, then you don't have to struggle once you move into your own place. So often people base their prices on what the next salon is charging. They're going online. Well, let me see how much he's charging. It's the worst way to price your services. But learning from someone else and seeing how they do things and understanding the formula that they use, that's priceless right there. It's priceless.
Yeah. I think, even, I worked in the salon where the prices were higher. I specifically chose more of a high-end salon as well. But when you work there, like your team, it's like you don't have any choice but to say what the number is. So you have to get your confidence up in order to say it, because it's part of your job. And so when it is time to move on or what have you, you're already used to saying it. It's like, you talked about around, that is a worse way to figure out what you're going to charge. But I think the worst way is to base it on what you feel comfortable saying out of your mouth, which is what I think a lot of people.
You're right about that.
And it's like, well, no, I don't think anybody would do that, would pay that. So I can't say that. That'll run them all off. And we end up underpricing ourselves and running ourselves out of business a lot of times, or we're in exhaustion, where we're burnt out and trying to do too much for too little.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about when you're working under someone, you have the opportunity to say, well, this is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. And I have a couple of team members like that. They love it. They're like, hey, I just work here. This is what it is. So the best thing about working for somebody else, you get to blame somebody else for everything.
Right. Not for everything, but yes.
Yeah, but for a lot of things, they love to come get me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I even tell my clients that. Tell them you have a business coach, and she said this is what it's going to be or needs to be.
That's right.
Blame me. So yeah, but this is great. It's like I want to say hi to everybody who's joined us. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your comments and everything. I see a few people. It's like I can't call names because it just says Facebook user from where I am, but I'm glad that you're here.
Mm.
And I guess we'll start to wrap up. But what if you could, give 1 to 3 pieces of advice for someone who's, maybe struggling to build their clientele, maybe their income isn't where they want it to be, and they're considering maybe I should or could look at assisting as an opportunity, or maybe even just working in a commission salon where there's a lot more support.
Mm-hmm. That support is such a big one, and that would definitely be my advice. And no, all salons are not made equal. I know that a lot of commission salons have a bad rap. There are some people who aren't doing it the correct way, and frankly, it's because nobody ever told them. They didn't know. A lot of people learn from bumping their heads, including salon owners. I've bumped my head a few times, and so I I would say just to really do your research and find someone where you can really who's open to teach you as well. That's just working in a salon is not enough. Make sure you let them know, listen, I want to learn. I think it's okay to be transparent about the fact that one day I would like to open my own salon. I'm
Mhm.
personally not threatened by that. I wanted to open my salon too. So that's not unusual for somebody to want to open their salon. But be honest about it and say, hey, I'm here to be here for a year, for 2 years. I don't care if that's the plan for someone. For me, just give me your 100% in that 1 year, and we'll be good to go. But use that opportunity every time you go. The other part that I want to make sure that when you decide to do that, don't look at it as a step back. That's a step forward. It's a step forward because you're actually doing something. You're investing in yourself. That's still an investment of your time to say, listen, I want to go learn how to do this the right way. Trust me when I tell you, it's going to save you a lot of time and money in the future when you learn how to do it right the first time. That's something I learned in the corporate world. So make sure that you're using it and really advocating it for yourself. If there's something that you need to know, because salon owners get really, really busy. Get busy. We have a lot of things on our plate. So if there's something that you're missing, if there's a gap in your skills or in your knowledge, then pull them aside. Say, hey, can you show me how to do this? Because you're there to learn. You're there to learn. And so use every minute that you can to advocate for yourself. People are not mind readers. And so it's still your job to make sure you say, hey, this is where I'm seeing a gap in my skills, my skill set. Can you really show me how to do this? Use it. It's on the job training, paid on the job training.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are such good tips. So good. And I'll just piggyback or add on to what you were saying. One, I think it is really important to have an idea of what you want. It's like what you want to get out of working somewhere. It's like I was really clear. I wanted to own a salon, and I made that clear and known, like you said, be transparent. And some people, some owners were not receptive to that. That's fine. I want to find
Mm-hmm.
someone who is willing to help me to be able to grow. And so
Right.
knowing what you want, it's like if you want to be a colorist, it's like look at salons that specialize in color, and
Right.
where is going to be the best fit for me. The other thing, the research you talked about, do your research. I love that. For me, part of it is that I feel like everything is energy, and we spend
Mm-hmm.
often more time in the salon than we do at home with our families. And so I think going
Mm-hmm.
into a space, seeing what it feels like to you, and I know we are
Mm-hmm.
creative people, so it's like we can be empaths or what have you, but see what that energy feels like. It's like, when you go into
Yes.
a room and, people are sitting there and you can tell there was an argument, even
Mm.
for the argument, that's the energy. And it's like you want to feel what that
Yes.
feels like to be there, and do you want to be there all day? And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really important, as part of the research, that it's not picking something from online. It's like, oh, they have really great posts. It's like, no, go and see what it's actually like in there and what your clients will experience. And you
Yes.
were talking about the difference, between working in a setting where, you can blame the boss for your pricing or whatnot. But that I think can make such a huge difference that we don't realize. One of the things that I share is like the difference between, say, doing what you do for $50 versus the next person doing it for $75. Just seems like, oh well, it's $25. It's probably not that much, but at the end of the day, even if you do 4 clients a day, that's $100 difference. 200 versus 300
That's right.
a week.
That's
It's
right.
what, $1,500 difference between what you're
Yep.
making, and you do that over a year, over 10 years, and it's like it's huge. It's like going with some place where you can charge higher, learn how to charge higher prices, and deliver the service that's needed for those higher prices can make a huge impact on on your whole career. So
Absolutely.
I want to leave that with you guys, a little nugget to think about.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
I so appreciate you being here, Tiffany. This has been a wonderful conversation. It's like I love the things that you shared, and it's like you are in the Austin area in Round Rock and doing phenomenal things. We are excited to hear, about your next salon opening, and just wish you much success with it. It's like I love, meeting other professionals who are doing great things. And so we just encourage you and appreciate your knowledge, and tell us where we can contact you, how we can stay in connected to you. If someone's in the Austin area or know someone that's moving to that area, how they can check you out and maybe even come work for you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me today. We're on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. I'm still working on TikTok, y'all. That's a lot. At D2911, I have it right there. So we're on all platforms there. You can also follow my personal page at The Healthy Hair Coach. We are always happy to have someone come in and shadow us. If you want to see what a day in the life of is, if you want to feel that energy, you're always welcome. Just send me a message on either of those. Our website is the2911.com. You can book appointments online. All of our team members are phenomenal. They're amazing. We genuinely like each other. The team members actually spend time with each other outside of it. So I'm just so thankful to have such an amazing group of professionals working with us. We are going to be hiring a couple more people because the new location is about double the size that we're in right now. And so we are going to be doing that, kind of starting everyone as a cohort, because when people come in, I want to make sure to train them and not just put them out there and they don't feel comfortable doing what they're doing. And so if you are in the Austin area or looking to relocate to the Austin area, like so many people are, feel free to send me a message, and I'll have my assistant reach out to you so that we can get something scheduled.
That is awesome. Yeah, such a great opportunity to be able to grow. And definitely, I was sharing with you yesterday, I've only been to Austin once. It's like I went to cosmetology school in Houston and took my state board in Austin. So I was there overnight, but I'd love to come and visit the everything that's
Yeah,
trans.
we're gonna have to have you come because we do. Yeah, we do monthly training, and so I would love to have you come one time and do like a business class or something. That would be awesome.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love that for sure. And there's always some good food in Texas. So some
That is true.
Yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch with Tiffany and I think I have it correct down here at the 2911. Is that correct?
You
Just
do.
scrolling
You
across
do.
the
Thank
bottom.
you so much.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And and follow her on Instagram, on Facebook, and TikTok when she's on there.
Mhm.
And also I'm Miki Wright. I'm with Your Pricing Matters. This is our podcast, and we're going to start on a regular schedule. So I hope that you guys can tune in. It's like we'll be back on the first and third Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So it's like a little bit earlier than we started today, but we'll be on a regular schedule going here forward. So I'm excited about that and excited to share with you guys all things about business, about growing your business, being in business, and of course, your pricing. And your pricing matters because it can be a huge increase to your business, to the revenue as well as the profit of the business. And it matters because you matter. And it's like we have to keep ourselves
Mm,
in the forefront of our businesses. It's like we need to make sure that we are running great businesses and that they are supporting the lifestyle that we want to create. So I hope to see you back,
absolutely.
and definitely feel free to follow me on YouTube. You can catch a lot of information on business, but I also did a series called Beauty Superstars Talk, where I interviewed Black beauty bosses all throughout the country doing amazing things. And there are over 80 of those episodes, and they're very, very insightful, filled with lots of gems. So take a look on YouTube, and you can check me out at mikiwright.com. It's just 1K, MIKIWRIGHT. And I encourage you all to keep reaching for the stars, keep doing great work, make sure what you're doing is working. And if not, reassess and go forward from there. So I will look forward to seeing you guys soon. And it's like, I think I have something for you, but I have to think of what it is. It's like, I will offer you a free business assessment if you are looking to set yourself up for success for this upcoming year. Just go to mikiwright.com/promo. There's a quick video and you can schedule with me. I'm happy to meet with you and kind of walk you through seeing how we can increase your revenue and or profit between $10,000 and $100,000. So check it out while it's available. So I will look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take great care, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Tiffany.
Thank you.